Hey, Dr. Jones.
Hey. Well, let me get situated.
Yeah, no problem.
Trying to be a look.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm just trying to wait for Dr. Jones to join back. She was with us, but somehow she got disconnected. So just waiting for her to join again. Jonathan, can you hear me? Can you type? Okay, thank you. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Hey, Jarima. Dr. Jones was on, but something must have happened because she's not, guess she got kicked out. So I'm gonna give her just a couple more minutes to try to get back on. And then I'm gonna start at no later than 6:05. Here she go, let's see. Approve. Hey,
You back?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for joining. You guys probably know me because this is my Facebook Live. But for those who don't, my name is Jillian, and I am an educator, a life assigned partner. Is it feedback? You hear that, Dr. Jones?
I hear a little feedback, but it's not to the point where it's a distraction.
Oh, yeah, Tremaine said he can hear an echo. I'm not sure.
Let me see. I'm going to close my door.
Okay. And while she's closing the door, I'm going to grab my AirPods just to make sure.
Is that better?
It might still be up, but it is. I don't know if that's going to help. Talking about my name being, yeah, Doc. So I have these pies and the still feedback. I'm not sure. Is there do you have like headphones?
I do, but Patrick has them because he's taking the test up front.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of feedback. So
can they hear me clearly?
I can hear you clearly, but it seems like when I speak,
I cannot.
when I speak, it's feedback, but when you speak, it's not. I'm not sure. Can you mute your phone, Doc?
Let's see.
That's so crazy because there isn't me. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. So when you talk, I'll mute, or maybe you may not need to. But my name is Jillian. Thank you guys. I know it's just me, Dean, but I'm on these lives all the time by myself, and I never have an issue. So I'm not sure. Thank you guys for joining. Dr. Jones and I wanted to create this space for parents who are going through a lot during this time. It could be related to remote learning. It could be things are hard. Whatever it is that you need as a parent, we wanted to provide a safe space for you guys. So I'm an educator, as I was saying. I'm a life assigned parent, although I have no biological children. And I have recently become a student and parent advocate in the ways that I want to help them be able to navigate the system and advocate it appropriately. So I wanted to turn it over to Dr. Jones because she is super, super dope. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about her before she hops back on. She's a restorative justice practitioner. She's a parent herself. And she is also an entrepreneur. Not only is she an entrepreneur, but all of her children have businesses as well. And so I wanted to bring her on for the perspective of the parent and also to provide the space for her to be able to talk to you guys about, why entrepreneurship was important for her and for her kids, and how you guys might be able to utilize some of the same practices that she utilized in order to move her students forward, or her kids forward. Yeah, I don't know why it's the issue with her being on this live. I appreciate y'all patience though. Lord have mercy. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus, please. Okay, she's asking to come back in. Let's see, y'all. Please, Jesus, fix it. Patience like Babyface saying, I'm not going to play with you.
Can you hear me?
I can. I'm done talking though. I just kind of queued you up. So go ahead and tell them your background, your story, and kind of why you're here.
All right, so hey everyone, I'm literally in my bedroom right now. So the good thing about that is my door is closed. But when you are a family of 7, 8, and include a dog, it gets complicated to look for space. So what I do appreciate is the platform that Jill has provided in terms of talking about parenting, and especially parenting right now during this pandemic. And so a little bit about my background. I'm a preacher's kid. If you know anything about being a preacher's kid and being rebellious, that was me. Um, from like the age of 15 to 26, I was a straight rebel. Had to overcome plenty of obstacles from teen pregnancy, mental illness, failed suicide attempt, rape, sexual assault, cervical cancer, and the list goes on. But here I am today. I'll be 40 in November, and so I'm very grateful for the life that God has given me. I have 4 daughters and 1 son. My daughters are 13, 15, 16, and 21. My son is 19. So I have 2 college students here. I have a middle school, and then I have 2 teens that are in high school, 9th and 10th grade. So I can tell you firsthand what it is like to be in our home with the stay home order and all the things that come along with it. So once again, Jill, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know that you're my road dog to the world blow up.
Yeah, no, you're super dope too. So I want you to go into a little bit about the entrepreneurship role that you play, and that also that you kind of kicked off and sparked in your kids.
Got you. So back in, I remember growing up, my father worked for the Board of Education and he had his side hustles. And my mom, she worked for the state, and then she sold Avon. And I didn't understand it because I'm like, in my mind, I felt as if they were well prepared financially, emotionally, mentally, all those good things. And I just couldn't, understand the concept of them needing to have all this additional income. But now that I'm older and I'm almost closer to their age in terms of the way I was thinking then, being able to have multiple streams of income and that sustainability, and being able to show me different ways of learning without just the traditional in the classroom type of situation. So what I appreciate is that I was able to take the things that they instilled in me and then bring it forward and pay it forward and continue this legacy of entrepreneurship. So before the pandemic, we had all these things going on in our lives. I work full time as a school administrator. Then I have my own organization, Purple Path. And then I'm tied up in all these different, I'm being pulled in every which way direction. And I had to realize that I can't be what I need to be to anybody else if I'm not what I need to be to myself and to the children that God has blessed me with. And so this has given me an opportunity to recalibrate and just rethink of how I operate as a mother. And so I've also learned too, and I think we talked about this briefly earlier, that for me, I had to learn because I had assumed I knew my children's learning style just because I'm their mother. But now I realize that I have some that are audible learners. I have some that are visual learners. I have some that you really have to be patient with because they're very creative. That my method of learning and teaching is totally different. So I have to learn how to meet them where they are by knowing where they are. And so I'm learning by them teaching me. That has
Yeah.
been the greatest benefit, because most times as an adult or authoritative figure or being the older person, we automatically assume that we know way much more than they possibly could. And sometimes the way that you deliver your message can be very antagonizing and intimidating to the point where you create more of a barrier. So I'm not going to say it's been peace on earth here at home, because, you have all these personalities, mostly females, and it can get trying at times. But for the most part, when I say I'm blessed to be, I wouldn't have it any other way. If I had to be anywhere else in the world with anybody else, I wouldn't.
Thank you for sharing. So tell us about what their businesses are.
So my 21-year-old, and the funny thing about it is, I'm very involved in the community, mostly the South Suburban community, because that's where I'm from. And so we had took like 6 buses of children and families to the Museum of Science and Industry when they had that Black Creativity Showcase. And so we caught it on the last day. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, this is going to be great for my younger kids. But the one who grasped it the most was my oldest child, the 21-year-old. She fell in love with the concept of sugar scrubs. She's like, a lot of times when we think about the products that we use, we don't think of it from a scientific perspective. We think about it as like hygiene and want to, just to feel good. She was like, but I didn't know that this was just that simple. And because of her, when we got home, she started ordering stuff on Amazon. I was like, why are all these packages coming? And so she started making her sugar scrubs, and now she's making body butters. And then Sanaa, who's the youngest, she's 13. She's like, Ma, I know what'll stop you from biting your nails, because, this is a blessing. If you see my hands, this is a blessing. I hope my nail tech is watching this, so she'll be proud of me. Her name is Aisha. And so she was like, I think I got it, because Patricia got this oil that she's using for the sugar scrubs, and why not try to make you a cuticle oil? Because then if you bite your nail, it tastes a certain way, you're not going to do it. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to work. And she tried it, and she's been making her cuticles. She sold out in one day. Like, we got pre-orders now at this point. And then you got Ayana, who knows how to braid hair. And so she's doing her research now in the front, looking for how she could wholesale the braiding hair so she can have it shipped. And when she braids hair, it's all inclusive. Like, you just come, you just show up. Ariel will wash, condition, and blow dry, and part, and she will braid. So everyone has something going on around here, and that has been the balance that we needed here at home, because I'm not their teacher, and I understand I don't have a teaching degree. I have plenty of degrees, but not in teaching. So I dare not take that away from them, that experience. And so what I appreciate is that even though I'm not their teacher, I may have been their first teacher because I'm their mother, but I also am learning too that the learning process has been reciprocal. And for us to find our balance is say, like, I know Sanaa, my youngest, she thrives better doing her work in the evening. That. Want to know how I found out? Because of this pandemic. Right. And I realized I tested her on something, and then tested her the first day I tested her on, and just to get an idea, like, maybe it's me. And she woke up groggy, and she didn't put her best foot forward. And this is stuff I know she knows. But then when I gave her the same assignment the next day, after breakfast, after lunch, after she done played on her game system and talked to a few people, she blew it right out the water and was like, is there something else I can do? So I learned immediately that for her alone, I have to, the time frame may not be 7 to 3. And at the same time, as parents, we got to show ourselves some grace, and don't be too hard on yourself. We all are going through this, and we're not going through it alone. So I don't want anyone to ever feel isolated, like it's just you. Believe me, we're all going through this. And then you, like I said, you just got to take the time to recalibrate, like reflect, like what went well that day that you could probably, implement moving forward. What's some things you need to change about yourself? What are some things like communicating with your children? Like for Sanaa and Ariel, they learned measurements because I finally taught them how to cook. Right. I've never been the parent. I don't like being in the kitchen with people. When I'm cooking, let me be in my zone by myself. And so what I have to realize is that how like my children could watch me, but some of my children can watch and still won't pick up what I'm doing. So I literally have to take my time and say, what is it that you want to cook? Ma, we want to fry chicken. I'm like, you don't know how to do that? Okay, let's go. Let's go to the store together. And I gave them the money. One, I didn't want to go in the store, to be honest with you. Right. We got a mask. I'm like, we got 2 masks. There's 3 of us. Y'all go, I stay. They go in the store. They get the items that they need. And mind you, had I went in the store, they try to pick the most expensive brand. They went in the store, they picked the most economical version of that brand, and they was able to like get other items like this might go good together. And guess who cook right now? They're in there cooking dinner. They like, Ma, you on the phone with Auntie Carew. So
Yeah.
it's been an amazing journey, and it's been challenging too because as I we're human beings too. So when I say show ourselves some grace, I literally have to take a step back because a lot of times we don't talk about being transparent about mental illness. I have a mental illness, and I will be the I'll be on the forefront. I'm okay with that because I know where I was compared to where I am and where I'm going. It's nothing but God. So we pray every day together. The prayers sound a little like some of them can be ratchet, but I have to learn that that's their prayer.
Mhm.
And so how do we, and that goes back to how do we tell our children to use their voice effectively if we never show them how to do so?
Yeah.
Because I think it happened one too many times where our child is trying, even if it's not our biological child, if you're an educator or if you ever come in contact with a child and they say something that rubs you the wrong way, you got to check yourself. Because sometimes it's not about what they said, it's something that triggered you because of what they said. And so me being able to take a step back, like, that's just my goofy kid. We got to show ourselves grace. We got to show other people grace too, because you don't know how this is affecting them. I have a son who's here now, like trying to knock out his finals. This is his first year of college, and then have to come home abruptly. It's an adjustment for everyone. So
Mhm.
when it's all said and done, my theme for the evening is grace.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you shared. I don't know. I don't- Can you hear me?
I can see your lips moving. I can hear whatever you may be doing in the background.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure. Okay. So grace is important, and it's still feedback, right?
And see, I don't hear the feedback.
I hear it. Um. Okay. So talk about how you finished your PhD.
That's funny. So I I started my doctoral program August of 2013 at Governor State University. And for those who don't know, Governor State is my home. So, Jaguar Nation. So I started August 2013, and as I progressed, and I'm gonna be very transparent in this moment. So this is the part that we may not have ever discussed, and this might be the first time I'm ever saying this openly outside of my immediate family. I had got the big head. The closer and closer I got to being Dr. Shaniqua Jones, I was like, yeah, they got me bent. It's been a wrap, all type of crazy. So I was, to the point where something disheartening happened in my family, and we had to move abruptly. And in the process of moving, I just didn't know how I was going to finish this doctoral degree. I successfully defended my doctor degree March 30th, and we had to move from my home April 6th, like a week to the day. And in the process of getting, for those who don't know the doctoral process, that even though I successfully defended, I still had revisions that needed to be made by a certain deadline in order for me to walk across that. So the closer and closer I got, I sent in my first revision, actually, to be honest, my 11th revision on April 7th. Mind you, I did that from the car, from my cell phone. I had to keep my car on because the car I had at the time, in order for your phone to charge, to stay charged, you have to keep the phone on. So we literally sat at the gas station because they had great lighting and the kids can get all the snacks they want. And it was just, I could go on and on about that process. So that's the 11th revision. And because if you're not familiar with how things operate between documents, it can be like you can send it and see it one way, but when it's sent to someone else, it's distorted. And so that's what brought on my 12th revision. And I was to the point like maybe this doctor degree isn't for me. But when I tell you, I have learned to not just pray in times of hardships. I learned to pray because it's my way of life. But in that particular time, I was praying because I was like, God, this is the 12th revision. You done brought me this far, and I'm over here operating off the phone. So I literally, if I didn't pay anything else at the time, I paid my phone bill because that was my lifeline to the outside world. I finished my 12th revision, 196 pages with my cell phone. I'm talking about graphs, linear equations, like straight pandemonium. And can you just imagine? When I walked across stage, I wasn't just walking across stage for me. God, when I say God humbled me in that moment, like don't you ever get to the point where you think you the reason why you wake up in the morning, that you the reason why you've been able to get this far, that you the reason why I blessed you with so many things. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have any of this. So please stay mindful of where I brought you from and where I brought you to and where I could take you if you just let me lead. And so I'm so thankful to God that in that moment it was a hardship. But when I walked across stage, I had my phone in my hand, like I did it with my phone because of God. So anytime you see me say God is, it's not just about it sounds good and catchy. That is my life. So I say all that to say, and I'm glad you asked that question. It's rough out here. But when you are determined, and that's why it's so good to have a plan. That's why it's so great to have a relationship with God, because when you allow him to lead, he'll pave the way. You may not see how, you may not know why, you may not know who, when, any of the you may not know any dynamics, but you gotta be obedient. You gotta be obedient. And he has blessed me tremendously. I never thought I would get to this day to have these type of conversations, to be transparent, to talk about education, to talk about parenting, to talk about this. I'll be 40 this year. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And so I know it brings on a sense of anxiety for some people, but when I tell you, hold on to the people you have, love the people you need to love, walk away from things that don't deserve you. Yeah, I'm thankful.
Yeah, so thank you for being transparent and sharing that. Um, in the spirit of grace, I'm not going to talk too long because I don't want to put feedback in, but doctors have found that children, their attention span is at most 3 minutes for every year of life. So if your baby is 5, that means they have a good 15 minutes with you. If your baby is in 8th grade and they're 14, that means they got about 45 minutes with you. This is not a sit down all day, learn all day. It can't be that. So I want you guys to have grace. I'm going to stop talking. If you have questions, go ahead and type them in the chat for Dr. Jones to answer around parenting, remote learning, entrepreneurship for her kids, anything.
Like I'm checking. Yeah, Tonette says one day at a time is all we have. Yes, yes, that's so true. Those glasses are hot, bull. I don't see anything on my end.
Me either. So I want to ask parents, starting next week, schools are going to start thinking about schedules for next year. We will still have to do social distancing. Would you prefer your kid to go to school twice a week, so 2 days for the full day, or every day for half days? If y'all heard me, please type in. Knowing what you know, that students cannot be in school all day like they were in the big class sizes, we have to rethink half days, full days for every other day. What's your feedback around how your schedule would work with distance learning in school?
I love that you asked that. Hey Antoinette, I think for me, I would prefer half day every day because of the consistency. But I also think in terms of I do all I this amount of people, but then that 2 4 might be better. I see someone commented. Um, I like that. Bev comment. Yeah.
Any other thoughts about scheduling for parents when we go back to school? How would you want the scheduling to be? Do you want it to be half days? Would you prefer they go every day for half days? Would you prefer that they go 2 days out of the week or every other day, but all day long? So from morning to evening. Just trying to get some ideas as I'm going to be talking to schools next week about their future in terms of scheduling. So a lot of people won't be able to fit into the class sizes like they used to. If it was 30 kids in a class, you can't be 6 feet apart and still have 30 kids in a class. So schools are going to have to rethink what it looks like. Maybe it's a staggered schedule. Some people come in the morning, some people come in the afternoon, or certain grades come on Monday, Wednesday, the other grades come on Tuesday, Thursday. I just want parents to start thinking about what works best for their schedule, understanding that you got to worry about transportation and you might be back to work at all of that. And then as you're brainstorming, I want you guys to also start giving feedback to your children's school. So start saying, hey, I was thinking about um, I was thinking about the schedule, and I know you guys are going to have to make some changes. Can you consider this as you're planning? So the whole purpose of this space is to empower parents to make sure that you guys have information to be able to do what's best for you and your baby.
Yeah,
So if
advocate.
you have thoughts about what that schedule would look like, please make sure you put it in the comments. You got something else, Dr. Jones?
I think I saw a comment by a dreamer, and what I appreciate is that being able to advocate for your child. Sometimes it can get very antagonizing and intimidating when it comes down to a parent having to have a conversation with an administrator or anyone that makes the decisions for your child education. And so, being able to understand the importance of utilizing the voice that you have and utilizing your voice so your child can also so you can model the way for your child to use their voice effectively, and being able to communicate with your child about things that are happening in school. And sometimes we can't just have this the casual conversation like, hey, how was school today? Like for me, I was that, hey, how was your day, and they'd be fine, and then that just be it. But now I'm being more inquisitive about how I ask my question and get a different response. And so, for example, like Ariel, I'm like, who had the flyest gym shoes today? It may not mean nothing to me, but it means everything to her. But because of me, authentic, like, yeah, I gotta care. I am a gym shoe fanatic. So yeah, who had the flyest gym shoes on today? Yeah, I'm like, well, what class you got with them? Math. And then that leads to, well, then if you was watching that gym shoes, what was up with math? And taking it from there. So I think one of the questions that was asked too was about some of the basic fundamentals of teaching my children about entrepreneurship. So we talked about branding, we talked about marketing, and one of the things I signed up, but I'm more importantly signed up for them. There's so many different free resources that are happening right now. I signed up for the Go Getter conference that's taking place through Think of It. And so what happens is they have like this 4 or 5 day virtual conference, and they're showing different avenues of how to, your social media presence, about branding, advertising, marketing, the difference between the three, the financials, what comes in, what goes out, what is your backstory, like why should people, what makes you so unique. So we have like our own, almost like the TV show. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I need you to stand in front of me and tell me the reason why your product works so good and why I should invest in it.
Shark Tank.
Shark, there you go. And so, like, they, in the matter of 1 week, they already have their website. They drafted the website, then I sent it to a professional to add the piece on it. So at least my children are included in this process. I need them to know that when they contact the person who's doing the work, it's not going to be mama that contact them. You contact them. So do you know how to say hello? Do you have the soft skills that you need to be a business owner? Do you know what having great customer service is? Are you a believer? Do you pray about your business? So those are the basic fundamentals that I'm teaching my children, as well as the basic fundamentals of how to operate at home. Like I had one daughter, and this being very transparent, I had one daughter. I'm like, why do you just use one towel when you're in the shower? You need two. And she was like, why? I was like, well, let's talk about it. And I hope no one gets offended, but you should know me by now. I'm like, I don't want your face smelling like coochie. That I'm just being honest. She was like, oh, but I know with that child, I can't be like, you need a towel for up here, you need a towel for down there, and she'll laugh because it's like, what? But when I said it like that, it was like, oh my God, okay. This is what I'm talking about. And in my mind, I'm like, she should have known this by now. But how would she have known if we never talked about it?
That's good. So that's one thing too that I want parents to take this time to do is like get to know your babies. And you like, yes, you're always around them, but if they've gotten older since the last time y'all really hung out and talked and did all those things, like now is the time to do that. Give yourself permission and grace. And I don't know if you guys heard me when I was breaking up earlier, but the average attention span for children is 3 minutes per year on earth. So if a kid is 5 times 3 is 15. That means they have 15 minutes of time to sit, focused, and not be disrupted. That's all they got in them at that time. So get them to 15 minutes, let them get up, play, do some jumping jacks, flip around, come back to the work later, right? This is very real for every kid. You can't expect them to sit all day long, right? So it's all about grace. It's all about doing things that are beneficial for learning, not just what the teachers send home, but watch a series on Netflix, discuss it, you know, ask them what they think about certain characters. You know, if they have siblings and they're debating back and forth with their siblings, that's a debate. Like, talk to them about this is why, I mean, she had a more convincing point than you because of this, and this was the evidence. Like, they are doing learning all day. You can find creative ways to help that come to life, and it doesn't have to be sit down and do this worksheet or this workbook. So I want you guys to know that. It looks like Maura said about the schedule. She said, what about one grade level per day? I think that could work depending on the school and how many grade levels, but then that means some kids would only go to school once a week as opposed to twice a week. I think somebody else said, Dreamer brought up like flex schedule. So let them come in, get their assignments for the week, and let them come back. Like basically like a check-in, help them to kind of like goal set and make a plan. Which I thought was a good idea too. Communication is the best policy. Yeah. So the whole point of this forum was just for you guys to put things in the comments, questions, concerns, how y'all feeling. This happened. I want to know how to respond. Any of that. I think, you know, we just wanted to be here to be able to be a support to parents.
Yeah, this has been great, and I appreciate what you said because honestly, the fact that you just gave us the research behind the attention span of a child based on age on Earth, that speaks volumes and explains a lot. And that goes back to like when a lot of times we go off a narrative, and that's beautiful too in some aspects, but you have to know the statistics and the data that supports your child. And so I would love for people, this is my shameless plug. Make sure you follow me on IG, Purple Path Dr. J, because I have tips out there like about remote learning, because a lot of my parents didn't understand the difference between e-learning, remote learning, what are the advantages, what are the pros, the cons, and all those different concepts. And so I gave out some tips for those who want to know more about remote learning. And then I also gave tips about the different aspects of learning, like visual learners, audible learners, and so all those different styles, and give you techniques to operate in those different in those different aspects of learning. Another thing I'll add too, my children, I finally finished All American about 2 weeks ago. We had a great discussion about that. And what I love about it, I only had one male child that I gave birth to, so his perspective was totally different, not because of his gender, but he's the only one that's traveled away from home. And him being in New Orleans is, life has changed. Like I almost feel like I have to relearn who my child is. And he's only been gone since August, and now that he's back home, like we don't do that here. Or him feeling like he's still the man of the family, even though there's a man in the house. So when I say we could talk about anything you guys want to talk about, we can. The other thing that I just finished watching night before last is Little Fires Everywhere.
Yes.
And my girls was like, Ma, do a discussion about that. And what I love about it is that I've done a couple of Zoom discussions with their friends that I even opened up, and I did it with my Facebook people. But it started because my kids and their kids, Antoine and all them, wanted to do a Zoom, and we did that, and we literally did almost like a watch party. We watched the last episode of All American together through Zoom. So when I say being able to have those debates, have an intellectual discussion, and being able to take a break. TikTok, getting active around the house. I even entertained the idea of planting, and I'm not good at that. And then my little baby was like, we could figure it out together. And that's the restorative approach to parenting. It's like, how do you learn how to do things with your child, opposed to them, to control them, or for them, to enable them, or not do it at all and neglect them. Like, you got to learn how to do things with each other.
Yeah. That's real, and I appreciate that perspective, Dr. Jones, because I think I often have questions about Black parenting, as a person who had a Black mother, and seeing my friends raised by Black parents and what that means. And so I think it's really hard to shift away from traditional methods of parenting, right? Because well, my mama did this and her mama did that and my great granny did it, and this is what we do.
Yep.
And I would say to that, right, there's no right or wrong. We know there's no manual, but I would say to that, like, if it's working for you, keep doing it. But if they're rebelling, like, I know kids who will tell their parents, go on and whoop me. Like, okay, let's get it over with. And then they back to doing the same thing. So if it's not working for you, then it's probably time to consider an alternative, right? There's no right or
Mm-hmm.
wrong, but it's okay to break away from traditional norms to meet the needs of our babies.
Yes.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to empower parents about was around, like, so if you're doing these everyday in-home learning activities, feel free to have your kid write something about it, or if they're reading, write about it and submit that to the teacher and say, this is the reading they did for today. Can you get them a grade for this? Here's a piece of writing they wrote. I made them write their brother an apology letter because they said something inappropriate. Here is the letter. Here was their writing for the day. I didn't get to the package you sent, but this is the evidence to show you that my kid is still learning. How about you put this in the grade book? And I doubt that teachers won't do it, right?
Look,
Go ahead.
I'm not to cut you off, sis, but this is Sanaa's binder. This is just, every child got their own binder. They picked out the binder when we went to Target. What binder you need? Every binder is over here. Everybody got theirs except for Sanaa right now because she finished for the day. But I think Jarima asked a question. I had them contact my friends who got my business started. I want them to hear for themselves. Like, this is not gonna be mama explaining this to you. So all this is stuff I'm saving. So when it's time for her to go to high school, she knows about trademarks. She knows about the startup of a business. Here go all her ingredients for her cuticle oil. She's doing her own measurements. Um, Supplemental programs like Khan Academy and what's the other one for math? Um, IXL. This is all her stuff that she's done so far.
And that's so dope. And some of it might be stuff that the teachers gave you and like the business is not. But you can certainly snap a picture and send it to her teacher and say, hey, this is what she's learned for today.
Yep.
Give her credit. Like, this is not, she not sitting over here chilling. She not, like, this is evidence of learning. It's not what you suggested, but it is evidence of learning. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
another way that parents can advocate on behalf of themselves and their children to say, look, I know you sent that big packet, but this is our plan for the week. I'm going to teach them a new recipe every day. They're going to learn how to tell time by looking at the stove. I'm going to teach them how to do laundry, or we're going to play spades and they got to write out the steps or the strategies. Like,
Yep.
whatever it is that you're doing, that you're already doing, just make the connection to learning for them so that they can see it being integrated into their everyday lives. There's no need to stress yourself out.
Exactly. Agreed.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have more comments to put, like, anything that's in, this is just a safe space for parents. If you're feeling this kind of way, you want advice about something your child said or how to approach something. Let's see. We got independent learning pursuits templates would be awesome to submit per quarter for each subject. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Yeah. I think, Beth, you had mentioned something about remote learning being our new norm and like in-person sessions only being around tutoring. I think I hear that, but it's hard for me to process that when I'm thinking about the inequities that exist, right? So if we're saying remote learning is the new norm, then what steps are we taking as a district to make sure that every kid has what they need, right? Even if a
Mm-hmm.
student got a laptop from their school, if they have a past due balance for cable or internet, they don't get free internet. So I think we're definitely doing some things to try to make sure access is there, but we're still not there yet. And so that's what scares me with this whole idea of like making remote learning the norm until we can actually attack the injustices and the inequities that exist with students to be able to have equal access. But I mean, I hear you, long term, it seems great. I just don't know how close we are yet.
And you know what? I'm glad you hit on that, because as a school administrator out in the south suburbs, we have the Chromebook distribution. We also have like different vouchers that are given out, whether it's through AT&T or Comcast, which I believe those are the only two that I could think of. And then in situations where they did have a past due balance, us as school administrators are being able to advocate for those parents to get those fees waived, or even just like a clean slate. So, because we've had that as an issue. And one of the things that we've been able to do too, one of the things that I started because I felt like I wasn't being as productive as at home, and I'm still collecting a paycheck. But and I'm blessed for that. So it was like, this is a perfect opportunity to use the skills that God has given us as a school administrator. What is it that I can do? What is my skill set? So one of the things I've done is create the virtual safe space. So on Mondays is with one high school, Wednesdays with another, and Fridays with my third high school. And then for my two alternative schools, they can call anytime on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So on those days, parents, guardians, other parental support, students, anyone that's connected to a child can call in and make that face-to-face interaction with me. And then I'm able to be the liaison between those families and the students and the school. So if there are some things, if they just want to say, like, I lost someone to COVID-19, then I can let the school know we need to be sending something over there to the home, a care package, leave it at the doorstep, send, our condolences, send some flowers, whatever the case may be. If they lack food, then there should be no reason, because let's figure this piece out. Here go the township, here go, Napoleon Harris, here go Thaddeus Jones' office. These are all the sites that you could go to. Oh, you don't have transportation. Okay, let's get these vouchers going. Or what is the agency that we need to connect to? So I've been able to, get all these memorandum of understandings out to our different community partners who've been trying to get into the school. But because of the red tape, I will say this, that it's been very disheartening for this pandemic to happen, but it had to happen. And so I hope that when we come through this, that we come out on the other side with a new lens to some of these things are not even necessary. Because if we're doing it for the right reason, why are these different policies in place that is a barrier for people in terms of racial disparities and the inequities, right? And so what I do appreciate about this is that all that stuff that went down, I'm like, hey, I make one phone call. I feel like Olivia Pope for real. I'm like, it's handled.
Right.
So I do appreciate that. And when I tell you, I just love how God connected us. Sometimes I can't even remember how we got connected in its totality, but to know that we're connected, you're just a gem. You are so amazing, and I truly appreciate you.
Birds of a feather flock together. You got a question, boo. Jarima said, so many of the parents she works with are worried about their child learning all the skills for their current grade level. What do you think parents should do to ensure they are on and above grade level? Should the teacher provide parents with the skills so they can make sure they cover it with their children? What are your thoughts?
So I know one of the things I've been able to do, and for those who don't know, Sanaz, my youngest child, is being homeschooled as of January 27th. So this is not new to her, but it's new to her now that everyone is home. But one of the things that I've been able to do for my other girls is all their tests that they've ever taken, whether they were from the suburbs or from the city, and I'm looking at their levels, I'm doing my own research. Even though the school is still they're doing all their classes through Google Classroom and another platform. But for the most part, for me, what I've been able to do is look at their grade level based on the testing that they've taken and giving them examples of that same research that I found online to say, like, are they still comprehending, and are they still meeting or exceeding the measures? And then being able to take the information that I have and give it to their teachers, who are now like, I'm hearing from, and when I email them, I don't email them as Dr. Jones. I email them as a parent, because I don't want you to ever give me, if you can't treat me like a parent, then how do you treat everybody else? Well, I shouldn't have to have a title for you to move, right? So when I'm emailing them, I'm scanning in documents like, hey, is this, are we moving in the right direction? Because I don't want to do busy work. I want it to be smart work. And so that's been the main thing that I've been able to do. And then also, like we talked about earlier, I've been able to take everything we do around here at the home that could be seen as a learning experience. Everything we do is a learning experience, from the TV we watch, from the music that we listen to. Like, we even had a whole discussion of how Rod Wave reminds them of Tupac, because Tupac was in my time, and to them, Rod Wave is the new thing. Let's talk about that. That's a music assignment, y'all. That's a debate. That is an intellectual conversation. That's them tapping into their soft skills. Because do you understand the respect of communicating? It's one thing. People say communication is key, and it's not. It's comprehension. Because if I'm talking to you and you don't understand anything I'm saying, I think I done did my job, and you walk away knowing nothing. And so being able to really have those nitty-gritty conversations about the way the world is operating, about Christianity. We watched, I think this is our 5th time watching the Clark Sisters movie, to the point I requested the director, who's from Chicago, as a friend, and she friended me. And then I've been able to get answers from behind the scenes, and the kids think I'm the dopest thing alive.
That's dope.
So I mean, we gotta really, like I said again, show yourself some grace. But one of the things, if you want to answer, is if you have their test scores, take a look at their test scores, the most recent ones, to see where they have, the different levels. If you don't have them, request them so that you can see for yourself. And a lot of times those tests, the language come off so intimidating. You like, okay, I see all these bars, they coded like my child is here, the state say this is no. Ask the questions. This is your time now, that the things that you think you couldn't have done before because you had all these different things going on out of your home, is the time to ask those questions. And they have to answer them.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this too, the Illinois State Board of Education, I sent out an email, I got a response back in less than 20 minutes. Because they understand, they're showing compassion, they're showing empathy. So things that typically would have taken 48 to 72 hours to respond, they have a whole team dedicated to answering these questions. Whatever questions you may have about education, graduation requirements, all these things, what college going to look like. And let me add one more thing. What I do appreciate about this, because in my school district, we were not up to par in terms of technology. So even though we were preparing our kids to go to HBCU college tours, and they had their college advisors and academic advisors, and they taken SAT, ACT, they still were ill prepared because they didn't know what a syllabus was. They still were ill prepared because they didn't know how to have they didn't have the soft skills in terms of how to debate in class. They didn't have the understanding of how to the self-discipline in terms of online learning. And so now I've been able to take what's happening right now and treat it as if, like, if you were in college, let's turn your room into a dorm. This is your dorm room. My son is here, so he's giving them techniques about things that he's been able to do. And I'm telling him, like, do you understand your teaching?
Yeah. And they're learning.
And learning, yes.
Yeah.
And so, I love the fact that I know that this is, because we lost our 7th person yesterday.
Jesus.
And I after the first person, I cried, and I haven't cried since. And when it come, it come. And I told them that's another, that social emotional learning. How do you grieve?
And my question to you, and Doc, maybe you could talk about this a little bit before we go, just around, like, how open and honest are you with children? Because I feel like a lot of parents, because they love their babies, like, I want to shelter them, I don't want to make them fearful, I don't want their feelings to be hurt. Like, to what extent are you, like, honest, real with them?
Look, I should call a kid in here. They tell you I have no filter. I used to. Because, see, by me being sheltered as a kid, only concept I had of parenting is to, like, when something is a hardship, hey, girls, turn to Proverbs 31. Let's talk about being a virtuous woman. That ain't me. But because that was my mother, I'm only doing what I knew to do. But then I just had that aha moment in class one day at Government State University, like, man, let me do me. And I just, from that moment on, I went from being like, hey, to like, Joe, shit real today. Did you hear about, sometimes either I'm telling the kids about something or they telling me something. And like, Ma, did you know such and such got killed? And it became so much of a common, like, every week. It was to the point like, yeah, Are you going to the funeral? And so when I say raw, we talk about sex. I don't say vagina and penis. I call it how they call it in school, because I remember being 15 and I used to laugh at stuff and didn't know because I didn't know. And I laughed because I didn't want nobody to see me as a lame.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to be your mama when she was 15. I want you to be well aware, not to the point where you're being disrespectful, but I want you to know God for yourself, but I also want you to know these streets.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing nice out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want you to have to go out there to find out, to realize that it's not, and then you're trying to work your way back like I had to. And
Right.
so we talk about, I talk about your body. Can you look at yourself in the mirror? What is it so important? Like, do you have to have a filter when you take a picture? And if you do, can you tell me why?
Right.
Like, these are the things we talk about.
Yeah.
Because for so long, like, I'll be honest, like, we played around here in the house and they put a wig on my head and everybody was like, hell no. And I'm like, oh my God, what's that? Like, you look like Dora the Explorer. And my feelings were hurt, like, I thought it was cute. And they was like, Ma, no, like, once you learn how to embrace who you are, that set the tone for us.
Right. So yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, right? And I also think that, like I said, parents always have the best intentions, and I think that they want to try to keep and preserve their innocence as long as possible. But this is what I know to be true, is that they are going to live life with or without you. And
Yep.
so you can either control the message, feed them what you want them to know, but at the end of the day, they are going to be out here making decisions. And you want to make sure that you've been in their head before it comes up. Okay. The other
Yep.
piece to that is, if you don't want to be that person for your child, find somebody for them. So I have always been that person. If I was a teacher, a principal, whatever, I would tell my parents, like, if you need a parent away from the house, I got you, right? Like, I'm not going to steer them wrong, but you also have to trust me enough. You got to trust who you got around your kids, but understand that unless you have made strategic and intentional process for kids to be able to talk to you about how they're feeling and to ask questions, they are going to suppress it because you're the parent. They don't want to disappoint you. They don't want you to be upset. And so when you ask, how was your day today? Oh, it was cool. Like, kids go through real life stuff every single day. So and so said this about me, or the boy I like go with somebody else, or like, life is happening with your babies every day. And if
Yep.
you are not finding ways to connect with them, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just might mean that they don't feel comfortable because they don't want to hurt your feelings or whatever. Find somebody for them, a cousin, an auntie, an uncle. If you want me to be that person, reach out, because they need somebody. Somebody needs to be in their ear. And so I'm glad you mentioned that, Doc, because, we could try to sugarcoat stuff and tell our kids, and you're a doctor now, right? They don't know, your kids won't, necessarily when they get older know that they may not remember sitting in the gas station while mama was doing her dissertation on her cell phone, right? That's a struggle you went through, so that perhaps they may not have to when they get to be older. At the same time,
Mm-hmm.
they still gonna know because you're telling them, like, this is what it is, right? Like,
And you and and
yeah.
what you that part right there, I learned, and this might get a little deep for one moment. I wrote a book about my life at the same time I was finishing up my doctoral degree. And a part of me felt like the reason why my world, or what I can assume my world to be falling apart, was because I'm deciding to do something my family would not appreciate, because I was raised in a household that what happened here, stay here, all this telling your business and stuff, you going against the grain.
Right.
Now keep in mind, I went to my family, I went to my brothers, I went to my mom. I'm like, hey, here go the book. I gave them the PDF copy before it even hit the press. And everybody was like, this is dope, but damn, we didn't know, like, we knew, but we didn't know. But hold up, and their names are not in the book, but if you know who Shaniqua is, that means you know who I'm talking about when I say my mother. You know
Right.
who I'm talking about when I say my oldest brother. So everybody was cool. At the same time, I gave the kids my book. And that was the moment that my youngest had to find out she was a result of rape. And to this day, it's like, dang, okay, Lord, I know I made the right decision, but this might be a conversation. This won't ever be just a one and done. Just because
And
I
Doc,
wrote the book.
how old was she when she found that out?
That was 2016. She's 13. She was 9.
Wow.
She
I
was
mean,
nine
and
years
it's so
old.
crazy that you mentioned that, because God rest my mother's soul. I was 16 when I found out that she had been raped, for a large part of her life. And it was so hurtful for me. But I just felt so betrayed at the moment, because I'm like, how didn't I know this all this time, right? And so I'm glad that she and I had an opportunity to talk about it and why she wanted to shelter me from it. And she had the best intentions, but I remember being like, hurt, like that's my mama, like I wanted to know that, and who was around, and why. I had so many questions, like why, like who let it happen, and all these things. And so I think, again, just to underscore, your baby was 9 when she found that out. That's a part of her life, that's a part of her story, and it's okay. I think sometimes we think kids are too young to be
You
able to
have to.
process stuff, but they're hearing all of that in schools and the media.
And see, I knew because we made the transition from the suburbs to Chicago. That's not knocking Chicago education whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
but it has been a culture shock for them, because they went from being the little girls who love the pigtails to the little girls who, I only wear Jordans now. I only want to rock. I gotta put weave in my hair. I'm not gonna get a perm, but mom, at least get my hair braided. And I'm like, how did this all happen? That's because they became a product of their environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew that there was some people who knew my story, but they didn't know it in its totality. So I don't want you to come and tell my child anything bits and pieces. Let me go. I put it out there myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, as a mother, the worst thing a mother, and I can't speak for a father because I'm not a man, the worst thing a mother can do is not share her own journey with her child. But
Mm.
at the same time, you have to do it when it's appropriate. You have to be led by God. You can't just be going off doing it because it just feel good in the moment, because you have to realize that the decisions you make, good, better, and different, don't just affect you, and affect everyone connected to you. So you have to be very careful and mindful. This is not just he hit me, because even that's wrong, but he raped me and you're a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
And not only are you a result of that, this is someone you see,
Yeah.
because he was my ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 other children with him. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's very deep. So when I'm telling people about parenting, I'm not just talking about the it's glorious. No, we have our moments. And so I just thank God to be here and be open with my children, and no, we don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Like they check me, not necessarily check me, but they have questioned me, and I had to take a step back, because if it was the other way around and that was me asking my mom, I'd have been on the floor.
Right. Right.
And now I look back, I had to ask my mom, like, why you laid me out? All I wanted was, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful.
I just
And
want
so
answers.
I'm just trying to find out what's going on. And
Yeah.
so, like, even, it's brought us closer. We're doing like a photo collage. And once the pandemic is over, we'll probably share it. But for the most part, each day when we wake up, we take pictures. We take a selfie together, and we watching how we transition from day to day as we've been in this home.
Aww, that's cute. That's super dope. I don't know. T is asking for you to put the link to your book in the comments so he can purchase. You are not commenting too much. You can comment as much as you like. I'm with you on the teach your kids, don't let the streets teach them. I'm so with you.
Man,
And I think, I get it why some parents want to be selective in what they try to give access to their children at certain ages, but the truth is it's gonna happen with or without you. If they
yep.
don't have a phone, parents go like, my kids too young to have a phone, that's fine. But when they in lunch or at the park, somebody showing them the stuff on their phone, and like there's almost no, unless you paying for a private school somewhere off where they ain't nowhere near around folks in the hood, you gotta understand that they're gonna be exposed, and so you want to
Yep.
make sure that you are driving that. So I just want to give people a few more seconds to ask any additional questions. Doc, thank you for sharing. Like, you are so powerful every single time and it's like most of that stuff I already knew, but it's like every time I hear you, I'm like glued, like, yes. And so
Thank you, boo.
I just remembered how we got connected. I remember seeing your video. You did the silent video on LinkedIn or something.
No, you did the video on LinkedIn, and I inboxed you. You were doing you was footworking with your students.
Oh, when I was
And
still
that's
working.
and what's so funny, that's not even me. When I see stuff, I like it, but I don't be sliding people DMs and stuff. That I am not a slider.
I didn't realize it was that, but yeah. So when I was still working with my kids, you messaged me, but then I clicked on your page and I saw your silent message video, and we just been connected ever since. Hey, Kenyatta.
Yep.
Let me see. Veronica says, the moment my mama opened up her life to me was the moment I truly understood her and her parenting style. It helps a lot on the child's end. Absolutely, and that's what I
Yep.
say. Like, I had been telling myself my whole time, and I say this about parents now, and people get upset with me, educators, administrators, like, parents are doing the best that they know how. I don't
Yep.
care if a parent has been addicted to a substance, if they are homeless, if they don't know how to read, whatever the situation, they still want what's best for their kids, and they're going to do the best that they can and the best that they know how. So when
With
I
what they
found out all
have.
this stuff about my mom and like everything she lived through as a kid, I'm like, no wonder why you weren't there for me, like in the way that I wanted you to. Like I don't even know how you still living, having to think about everything you've been through. So that perspective really was key in me being able to really forgive her and like for us to move forward. And so I think, to Veronica's point, it is key for parents to be able to talk about their story with their kids so that it helps to create context.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, Marlena. I was trying to see. I don't know if it was other comments that came up. So yes, Veronica got you. Dr. Jones put her link in for the book. Um, yeah, y'all. So we just was, wanted to create space for parents. Next week on Monday, I'm gonna do a similar session, but it's gonna be with teachers. So teachers and how they're managing and dealing with this whole pandemic situation. I think oftentimes it's easy for us to say, well, the teacher I emailed, they ain't emailed me. It's been all this time and all that. But who knows what the teachers are going through, right? They got stuff that they're dealing with too, and so I want to provide them the space to be able to talk about their situation, what they need from parents, advice they can give to you guys. So next Monday at 6, I'll be doing this with teachers. Who else is on here? Yeah, so that's all I got, y'all. I don't know, Doc, if you have any. Oh, so for those who just joined recently, before you exit out, if you're a parent, I don't know if you heard JB is saying that we could probably be doing remote learning into the fall. And so a lot of schools right now are starting to think about their schedule for next year. And so because we still have to do 6 feet for the social distancing, the schedule is going to have to be different. So some schools are toying with certain grade levels coming every other day. Some schools are talking about having half days every day. So in the morning session, you might have grades 2 and 3. In the afternoon sessions, you might have grades 4 or 5. Whatever combination of a schedule, keeping in mind that it's not going to be the full schedule based on what you as a parent know you need in terms of transportation, babysitting, whatever. Please type in the comment of the video so that I can collect all of that evidence, so that when I go and talk to schools about the schedule, I can say, here's what some parents had to say. Okay. So next Monday, we're going to do the session with teachers. Don't forget attention span. And this is, I would venture to say for adults too. 3 minutes for every 1 year on life. That's how long you can sit uninterrupted and pay attention. So if your baby is 10 times 3 is 30. That means 30 minutes is all they got. After that, let them get up, run around, do some jumping jacks, play the game, come back and do their work. And I think that's all I had. Doc, do you have any closing?
I think for me, like I said, I'm always looking for a common theme in everything that I do. And even though prior to the pandemic occurring, God dropped in my spirit, recalibrate. And when he said, I'm like, that's not even part of my daily routine or vocabulary. So I'm like, okay, where this come from? So, speed up the conversation. When I went to the doctor, like 2 or 3 days after the Lord dropped that in my spirit, I had to take a breathing test. And as I was taking a breathing test, when it was time for me to take a pause, the doctor said, hold on, recalibrate.
Come on, Jesus.
And I was like, he's like, you okay? And I said, shh, like, give me a moment. And when I tell you, the tears just start falling. I've learned to tap into my emotions now, where before I was raised pretty much by my brothers, because my mom was working full time after my dad and her separated. And so being raised by these boys has brought on this idea, like, don't cry, just, suck it up and keep it moving. But when I tell you, when the tears come, I cried, and I sat there and I cried, and I said, thank you, God, for confirmation. Not even knowing that this was coming, this pandemic was coming. So when I tell you, I got my little Apple Watch, and I don't know if you have, I think you do, but it'll tell you to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, every time I see it come up on my watch, I'm like, God, you just thank you, because I need that. And I'm in my closing, all I really want to say is breathe.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was saying is grace. Show yourself some grace and breathe. We are going through this together. You are not alone. Please don't isolate yourself. If for any reason you feel some kind of way, because I know what it feels like to live with a mental illness, and I'm not saying survive, I'm saying live, because I'm living. To live with a mental illness, it's a daily function. I won't say battle, it's a daily function. And so if you need to reach out to a resource to get the assistance that you need for whatever capacity, if it's mental illness, if it's about a need that's in a home, if you're unemployed right now, money not coming through, please make sure that you tap into the resources that you have, because that's how we build social capital, is understanding that everyone is connected in one form of fashion. And a lot of times the devil will have us in an idle frame of mind that we feel like we're alone and isolated and that you're the only one going through. So I'm saying all this to say that don't quit, don't give up. The world needs you. Live into the gift that God has created you to be. Walk in your destiny and breathe.
And the very last thing is this. I know y'all want y'all babies to be baby geniuses and Albert Einstein. If you don't do a single piece of remote learning from now, it's like 4 weeks left for school. If your mental stability is just not there, don't
Yep.
worry about it. When they go back to school, they will figure it out. The teachers are skilled, they are certified, they know what to do. Do what you can and give yourself grace. We love y'all. Thank you for
Yes.
joining us tonight. You can reach out to Dr. Jones, as she said. If you're a parent, if you want me to talk to your kid, if there's any way that I could be of service to you, please reach out to me. We are in this together. Do not suffer in silence. We love you guys. Be
I
safe.
love you.
Be well.
I love you, Karu.
Love you, Doc. See you
All
later.
all right.
Bye bye.